Hello, everyone. We are back for another Dr. Jaspersoft session. I'm Balak Drive, your Dr. Jaspersoft host. And with me today is our guest speaker for the second time, Prasant. Hi, Prasant. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you. This is our first session this summer. So it's very sunny here in Paris, surprisingly. What about you, Prasant? Do you have summer already in Amsterdam?
Yeah, brother. For the last 2 days, the temperature is holding up, but the coming days it seems to be rainy. But yeah, I'm enjoying.
Okay, so it's raining and summer. It's a rainbow. All right, that's great. So today's session is part two, guys, of the last session about integrating Git into Studio. And now we will show you how to set up a pipeline for deployment using Jenkins. So Prasant will walk you through that. And if you go to the next slide, please, Prasant. Yeah, so just stay tuned for the next session. So it will be on August 10th. We'll be talking about what goes into switching from a community license to a commercial license. So if anyone is planning to switch, this session will be the best for you to help you navigate the transition, avoid pitfalls, and clarify all the necessary steps. Before just giving the floor to Prasant, please guys put your questions on the comment section in the right of the YouTube stream. We will be monitoring it. I will try to get all of your questions before end of the session. Without further ado, Prasant, you can go ahead. Hello, Prasant, you still with us? It looks like you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I hope you can hear me now.
I can hear you. We can see you. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I'll just minimize this. Okay. So I'm going to the third slide. I hope you have seen all the last session on Git. If not, probably just go through that, and it is a nice session on how to integrate between Jaspersoft and Git. I'll just give you a brief intro on that because we are still using Git here. So this is our agenda. So we will quickly review the Jaspersoft Studio Git setup from our previous session. Then we will go and check how to set up Jenkins with Docker, and we'll do a small demo, and later after that we'll go with the question and answer session. So coming to the Jaspersoft Studio Git quick review. So I know that probably all of you have gone through that particular video which we did last time. So if not, this is that Git. Like if you go to Windows, then perspective, you should see all the perspectives which are available inside Jaspersoft. You can go and select Git. So here you should see your branches. I have already I have already cloned one of the repositories here. If you want to do it from the scratch, you can. There are these icons here. If you need to create an existing local Git repository, you need to click this, or if you need to clone, you can click this button, provide your URI, click on next, and that should actually import your Git or create or clone your remote Git report to your local. So this is a very brief intro, and there is a button for creating your new Git repository, new Git local repository as well. So I strongly advise you to go through the first session of Git if you haven't already done that. So yeah, let's go to the slides once again, and let's go to Studio Git Jenkins overview. So this is what we are actually going to do today. So we have our Jasper Studio, which has all the JRXMLs, images, and everything. And once you completed all the development of a particular report, you will push the changes to a remote. We showed you how to do that in the last session. So once your changes are available in Git remote branch, the Git remote, today we will do some configurations on how to create a webhook in Git. So that webhook will make a call to Jenkins, and the Jenkins will create a job, and we have to write some Jenkins, some specific logic inside the Jenkins file. There is a Jenkins file configuration, which I will show later in this the presentation. So This particular Jenkins file, what it does is like it does all the heavy lifting for you. For example, you have to make sure that in Jaspersoft, whenever you checking something, you have to make sure that you identify the particular files which are checked in at that particular point of time. So we have to identify the current commit or delta between the current commit and the previous commit. So we have to identify that JRXML files or images, all the files which are checked in that or pushed in that particular commit. We have to identify that. We have to then take that files, then make multiple API calls to Jaspersoft, which will create or update the reports and files in your actual Jasper server. So this is what we are actually going to do today. So going with the next slide. In order to do that, we have to do some setups in Jasper Studio, in Git, and also in Jenkins. I have also mentioned it in a detailed step. So maybe what we can do is like we can just quickly go through the things which I have mentioned here, and I'll also show you in the demo as well. So the first thing which you need to do is go to your Jasper Studio setup and click on Windows, Preferences. Under General, you have a Capabilities tab button. So click on it. So there you should see a development. Check on this checkbox. Click Apply and close. So this should make your Jasper Studio compatible with Java. And later, copy the Jenkins Java Webhook folder in the Project Explorer. So this is the folder which I created just now. And inside this, I have a Jenkins pipeline file. So this is the logic which I mentioned. Like I'm identifying the last commit, then I am identifying the current commit, and I'm identifying the change files. Then we are identifying whether there are any images or JRXMLs. And then we are also checking whether the particular JRXML is already available in the server. If it is already available, then we will invoke an update report. Else, if it is a new one, we will invoke a create report. So this will just create the API. So that's all what it does. Okay. So I think I have mentioned the same set of things here. One thing which you need to make sure is like once you add this particular folder, you have to click on Project Properties, and under the source, you have to like initially this won't be here. So you have what you need to do is like you have to click on Add Folder and select that particular Java webhook. And also, we need the class files also to be generated on the same folder. And for that, you can click on this browse and select the same folder, Jenkins Java Webhook. So if I go inside here and build the project, this should actually, let's see, it's building.
So yeah, so I have a question here, Prasant. So those Java code, Jenkins pipeline and Jenkins EI pipeline, so those are holding the business rules, right? For our, for what we want and how we want to deploy our report to JasperReports Server using our REST APIs, correct?
Yes. So
okay. So and this can be anything, right? So every developer can create his own logic, business rules. It can be on Java, or also can be on other languages, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So it supports Groovy. So I have one small file which I created in Groovy as well, which does the same job. Like here you can see I'm using a Jaspersoft URL, which is my local server. For now, I'm just using my local Jaspersoft username and password, but in production we can have n number of like a pre-authenticated token or something here as well. And the underlying logic is same. Like we are identifying the change files and the current like the change files are identified with the help of the commit. Like we are identifying the last commit and the current commit, and we are getting the delta.
Yeah. Okay. So, thanks so much. That answered my question.
Cool. So I'll go back to Studio, and in Jenkins also, like just one more thing which I wanted to add is like we have a Jenkins file, and this Jenkins file, what I did is like I'm just referencing the focus to Java. Like I'm asking Jenkins to run this particular Jenkins pipeline for me, which is written inside Java. That's what all it does. Cool. So I'll stop here. Now I'll go back to my slide. So yeah, I was mentioning like I think we were in the middle of we were in the middle of building the project. So as you can see here, now I can see my class files being generated. Initially it was not there, but after I added my source, and also I put this default output folder as Jenkins Java Webhook, then it created the class files, and this is a class file which is being referenced by this line. Okay. So after that, what we need to do is let's go back to our studio, and yeah, this is what all it is. After this, once you build the project, we should generate the corresponding class files which we saw. So I'm going to the second step, which is the Git webhook setup. So here, what you need to do is you need to go to your Git. Let's escape here. Yeah, go to Git. Go to your settings. So I am inside a repository called Dr. Jasper Jenkins, and I have to go into the settings repository. Settings here. On your left-hand side, you should see a webhook button. Click on it, and this is the one which you need to, which is actually a reference to your. This is the one which is being referenced to your GitHub. Sorry, Jenkins. So this configuration, what it does is like whenever you push something to Jaspersoft on this particular repository, when you push something from Jasper Studio to Git will make a web API call to this endpoint, which is nothing but my Jenkins endpoint. Okay, so that is all about how to configure your webhook setup. Only thing is like just change this Jenkins URL to your specific Jenkins URL and create the webhooks. Now going to the third step, this is Jenkins setup. My Jenkins is running in a Docker image. So you can see here. So only difference which I made in the below command. Let's go to my command once again. So yeah, these are the commands which are required to make your Jenkins up and running in a Docker image. So only difference which I did is like instead of 8080, I'm making this up and running on 8082 because my Jaspersoft server is also running on 8080. So I don't want to make both the applications run on the same port, which can cause issues as well. So that's one thing which I did or made slightly different from the normal Jenkins Docker setup. So if I click on this, it should go take me to the dashboard. Maybe I'll log out once again. So I'll quickly go to my slide once again. So I hope I have also mentioned how to get or retrieve your password. Yeah, it is there. So the username is admin. So you can provide admin as a username, and password. You can just open the loggers and just search for password here. So it will be at the very beginning of the logs. So you can just take this and add here. Okay, there you go. So I'm inside Jenkins now, and I'm going to the next step. So this is how you create the webhook configuration. So you need to click a new item, and maybe I'm just giving a name test job, for example. I have to create a pipeline. So click on the pipeline, click OK. Now you have to scroll down and you should see this generic webhook trigger. So click on this. And if you remember, this was the exact same URL which I mentioned in Git, right? So in other words, it says this is triggered by HTTP request to this particular endpoint. And we actually configured this endpoint on our webhook part, if you remember the last slide. So you have to provide, you have to click on generic webhook trigger, scroll down, you can provide a particular token. So if I go into my token, I think I'm also providing a token as 2345. I'll show you a working one and then we can compare that as well. So you can provide a token here. And if you scroll down further, you have to select the pipeline. So the pipeline which we need to select is pipeline script from SEM. And once you select that, select Git here, and you need to provide your repository URL, which is nothing but your actual Git endpoint for this repo. So you can select this endpoint and give it here. Click on, now you have to provide your credentials. So for that, you need to provide your credentials. You are going to use the username and password, right? So for that, you can provide your username, which is nothing but your Jaspersoft, your GitHub username, and the password should be your. I think I have already mentioned all those things here. Just a minute. Yeah, pipeline from SEM, Git as SEM from dropdown, provide Git repository URL. Now your username is Git username, and the password is personal access token. This is very important. So else it won't work. So if you don't know how to create this personal access token, I would suggest you to go to the last Git Dr. Jaspersoft video. So I have a detailed section of how to create this personal access token. So you can just provide those two things here as username and password, and then click add. So once that is completed, let's go to let's scroll down. You can see a branch specifier here. I'm putting it master, but you can change it as main or whatever branch you need to be configured. Like for example, if I need to use a different branch, in my case, I am using a branch as main. So I should actually change this master to main in this case. And I also have to specify a Jenkins file path. So this file path is specific to the Jasper server, the repository. So in this case, I should have put it as Jenkins Java Webhook / Jenkins file. Okay, so maybe what we can do is like we can just take a working webhook Java. This is a working pipeline. So I will just go to the configure button. Let's scroll down. I have, as I mentioned earlier, I have selected this checkbox. If I scroll down, like I am putting the token as 2345, which we saw earlier in our Git. Just close this one. Yeah. And if I scroll further down, that is not required. Yeah, here I am putting my repository URL and the credentials. So if I'm selecting a different credential which is not correct, I will get this error. So it says that it is not able to connect to that repository. But if I give the correct one, it works. And earlier I mentioned, like I have a branch, my branch name is called main here. And that's the reason why I am keeping this also to main. And my script path is, this is a Jenkins file script path. So I'm telling Jenkins to refer to Jenkins Java Webhook / Jenkins file, because that is where my file actually resides. Yeah, this is where that file resides. So it will create a pipeline, and it will try to execute this particular scripts. So this script is again inside Jenkins Java webhook, and it is a class file for Java, Jenkins pipeline. Yeah, Jenkins pipeline class. So this is the class file which will get executed eventually. So I'm going back to the slides once again. I think I have already put all these details here, so we can just go through this deck and or this particular PPT and just go through each and every step, so that it should be easy for you to configure this. Yes, so it has all the points. Yes. So the next one is Jasper Studio Jenkins file configuration. So for that, as I mentioned earlier, we have this Java file configured. So as Badar correctly mentioned earlier, if you need a different logic, you can configure that here. And based on your specific business scenario, you can have a number of different logics embedded into it. Like for example, if you have a requirement to extract or export a particular report from one repository and import it into a different repository, it is also possible. I mean, you just need to change the code accordingly, or probably you have to use the corresponding APIs to export and import. Yeah, so I think let's go back to the slides once again and see. Yeah, now we can quickly go and start the demo. Okay, so for that, what I'll do is like I'll just quickly go to the Jaspersoft. This is my Jaspersoft home. I have created a JRXML. This JRXML is inside a folder called Doctor. And yeah, let's firstly queue the server and see if that particular file is there in the server. I mean, I'll just log in once again. So if I go into repository, there are no images, there is no report. So it's a brand new Jaspersoft installation. So now what I'll do is like I'll just have my report here. So let's make it more interesting. So what we will do is like let's go to my downloads. I will have an image here. I have an image here. I'm just copying it and pasting it under the images section. So that, yeah, and probably I'll just drop it here as well. So yeah, I'm saving this. So no changes done in the server. I'm just going to publish these two changes to my Git. I'm adding a commit as adding image and report. Let's see. So yeah, it is pushed to remote. Now let's quickly go and check the webhook part. So if you see here, yeah, it worked fine. So I can see the last commit and the current commit, and the change files are also getting retrieved as expected. So if you scroll down, what it does is like it actually checks whether the image, Dr. Jaspersoft image, is already there in the system by invoking a get API call. In this case, we received a 404, which is expected. So we created, we invoked an API, and we created the image first in the Jaspersoft, and then we are extracting the expression value and slightly modifying that in the JRXML. And yeah, we are checking whether the report is also there. Like this is the second part. So we got an error saying that this particular report doesn't exist, which is correct as well. So we will invoke a create report API call, and this is a base64 encoded version of the XML. And if you scroll further down, yeah, we can see that the report got generated, and it has all the required. It also has the database connection and all the required. Like it also have this URI to images. So now let's quickly go and check our Jaspersoft home, because earlier we didn't see the reports anywhere. Now if I'm going to the repository, first we will go and check the images. Yeah, I can see the Dr. Jaspersoft image being added here. Let's go to the reports, Dr. Physician. Let's open this. You can see the image as well. So it's all working as expected. Now I'll quickly go back to the server. I'll just remove this image and maybe put it as one, or yeah, just two. And yeah, let's add this one. I'll save this image. Sorry, save this DRXML, modify, and I'll committing and pushing this file. But now we will quickly go to our webhook and see. Yeah, you can see that it is just starting 182. So Jenkins is starting the job now. So I can go inside and check the console. So here it only identified this Dr. Physician.xml, no image expression, record is updated. So if I go back to my Jaspersoft and just update this file, open the physician, I shouldn't see the image. Yeah, and I'm seeing the test2 as well, which is expected. So on a high level, yeah, this is what we thought of demoing. The same logic can be handled, as I mentioned earlier, the same logic can also be handled with the help of Groovy. So if you have Groovy, if you are a Groovy developer, you can use this one, or if you prefer Java, you can use Java. So Badar, do we have any questions online?
No, everything looks good. Everything was really everything was clear. It's really great to see Jenkins and Studio and Git and JasperReports Server all working together. That's pretty good stuff. Thank you, Prasant.
Maybe I think maybe yeah, as I mentioned earlier, probably we can do much better stuff like exporting and importing stuff. I think I have part of that, but yeah, we don't have much time, so probably we will skip that for now. So in that case, probably what we need to do is like we'll have to have two APIs. You will be exporting it from one and importing it to a different API, or vice versa. So yeah, so that's all from my side, Badar. So probably we can go back to the slides.
All right.
Yeah, so this is the over to you, Badar.
Yeah, thank you. Just this is the resources, guys, that we always put at the end of our slides. So if you guys want to go and check out our customer success orientations, our Kickstart guide for Jaspersoft, our Dr. Jaspersoft community, and previous recording as well. Well, you know, soon all of today's slides and YouTube recording will be available in our Dr. Jaspersoft community page, that link there, and also on YouTube, on the YouTube recording. And yeah, if you go to the last page, last slide. Yeah, so thank you guys, and please, if you have any more questions related to this session, just shoot us an email there at Dr. Jaspersoft, connectjaspersoft.com, and send your question in our community by putting this hashtag Dr. Jaspersoft. Thank you so much, and thank you, Prasant. Have a great day.
A great day. Thanks, all. Thanks, everyone. Bye.